Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to our crazy farming simulator series. I'm just going to go black and white with pink wheels, I think. We'll just do that. And not going to buy this one, I'm just going to lease it because this is not going to be a final product. So I've got that one that will be able to go and do our sugar beet. Now, I'm doing one field of sugar beet, so I think it's going to be that big field. The problem with that also is the planter has to have something as plowed. So the sugar beet and the potatoes, they're... Oh, wait, it's Stevie. He's probably made it so it's a direct drill. So I'm just going to drop that one down there a second. Not planting sorghum this time either, although we'll probably do something that will require sorghum. Our main focus is cows, remember. So I'm getting these extra crops, but a lot of these crops are so that we can make the mineral feed for the cows to have everything that we want on there. Oh, I'm going to need to go and fill this one up. Right, so I need 3 and 5. Let me fill this one up. We've already seen this recently. Right, that one is now all filled up, and the advantage of this one is that it will plant absolutely everything, so we can use this one to do our potatoes as well. Now, I'm thinking that the sugar beet is going to be in this field just down here. So there's potatoes, and there is sugar beet. We will come in here, and I'm really, really hoping he has this one as a direct drill. Really, really, really hoping that it is a direct drill. So you've got to bring it on round like this, and then you reverse up to this side. You pick it up, and then you have to fold it. So we pick it up like that, and then we fold it to put away all of the travel bits and sort of unlock everything else, and then fire it up, lower it down, and it is not a direct drill. I think it's the giving it direct drill functionality is what is the difficult bit. It should be why it's not a direct drill. Pretty sure that is what causes the issue. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I've tried to do the same, and I couldn't get it as an actual direct drill. So we will instead... This is a 6-meter one. There is a massive, great big Vinland 12-meter right here. Although this just says it's used to seed crops, it doesn't actually say that it's a direct drill. So I'm not going to chance that one. Now this one is a direct drill. It is an 8-meter width on it. That one does the 26 kilometers an hour. I think that is the one that we want. So we won't risk it with that one. This one right here is the bad boy that I actually want. So I'll take that up to 36, like that, and find some colors. I'm thinking that I might actually go with the black and white that I had last time. But black and yellow just looks so good. Like, seriously, black and yellow is just such a cool combination. Black and white also does look good, but black and yellow I feel black and yellow is a superior branding. But I did this one I did the last one on black and yellow, so I will do this black and yellow as well, like that. Okay, and then I need to take this one back up there. Actually, I don't. I can just return it from here. I need to empty it out first, though, so we will go to here, and then... Oh. Yeah, those crates. I really, really don't like those crates. Those crates are a bit of a jolly nuisance. Let's go and take this back to the dealership, and we can get our new drill and bring that one down. And then I've got my fast drill. So I'm only using the new drill for doing the row crop stuff, and so it'll be the sugar beet today, and also the, well, the potatoes I was going to leave until next month. Slight complication with our plans in that this seed drill that I just went and got doesn't actually have fertilizer capacity. So I've gone with the 6-meter one over here, which does have fertilizer capacity and still has all the crops. Just loading up the seed. Unfortunately, it tips them out into boxes, and boxes can't just be loaded by pressing R on a seed drill for some really, really weird reason, and I've never been able to figure out why. It just seems such an odd thing. It's like the most random restriction that I could think of. But anyway, I have got this one. I'm able to do my row crops with this one, so we don't need to worry about beans with this one. The things that we're going to plant sugar beet, we will want to plant potatoes, and we'll want to plant sunflowers with it. So I've got 2 more fields after this one that I will want to plant with this seed drill, and I will end up getting something a little bit different and more betterer than this one in the future, so that we can also do planting by using one of the Stevie ones, or I might just copy and paste his code that he's used to enable these to plant everything. There's some other multi-fruit ones as well that have done it, so I don't just have to go and steal Stevie's hard work. I can steal other people's hard work as well. And yes, I haven't got a clue how to write out the code for it, so I am quite shamelessly taking the code that they have used, and I'm not under the impression that they will have written the code themselves, but they're people who know how to do these mods. They know what they're doing when it comes to these mods, and so what they will have done is they will have gone through most carefully and added in the correct words in the mod file to make it do what they want it to do, and then I just come along afterwards and copy and paste what they've figured out. So technically I'm not copying code that they have written. I'm copying code that is known by many that they have just used. Does that sound alright? I'm not profiting from it. I'm not sending it to anybody else. I'm strictly keeping this for my own use. But, I mean, this is just kind of what I do anyway. Like, I go through and I use the different mods. I don't like that that gate is opening the wrong way. It should be opening the other way back into the hedge. If I was installing that gate in real life, I would have put the... See, there's also a problem with that fence line. You have a look at this, right? Let me just show you. Some of you will know what the issue with this is, and some of you won't. Those of you who've had farming background will probably immediately be able to tell me what's wrong with that, and those of you who haven't quite possibly won't know. They won't be able to pick it up. Now, there are 3 strands of barbed wire on there. Now, normally when I'm doing fencing, we put 1 strand of barbed wire here, which is just above the netting, because that stops the animals from being able to wiggle their head in between the two, and they will. So if you have it down really low, they can't actually do that. And then we have another one up, and we generally have our posts up a bit, and we put a 3rd strand of barbed wire along the top. So you have 3 strands of barbed wire and the netting. But when you come to hang a gate, normally we would hang it back over on this side, so then the gate swings back into the hedge, and you haven't got this scenario right here. But if you say you have it out into the middle, you wouldn't do this. That post there is the strainer post. These ones are typically just smaller posts. It's not here, but typically on a fence line, these are smaller posts. This one here is a much bigger post, and we used to dig a hole and then put the post in and then tamp it all in all the way around it. These days, generally, you can get really big posts, just sharpen the end of it and use a tractor-driven post driver and hammer the thing into the ground, which is equally as effective. The smaller ones, you knock them in as well, the tractor-driven post driver, but they're really easy. You used to knock those in by hand. These, you would never have knocked them in by hand. You had to dig a post hole. But you wouldn't... That's the strainer. So, number 1, there would be a... there would be a post here into the ground. There'd be sort of a bit of framework here to strengthen this and give it something to pull against, so it'd sort of anchor it into the ground, and then all of that strain on the fence wouldn't just leave this straight out of the ground. The extra bit here would hold it in place. But you would never ever hang a gate on a strainer post, because then you've got too much pressure going on that post. You've got it pulling that way with the weight of the gate, and you've got that way with the other stuff, and it's just going to come loose. And within a year or 2, your fence line is going to start to go a bit slack. What you would do is you would put 1 post in there, which would be your strainer post, and you do everything to that, and then you'd put in another post right here, and you'd hang a gate on it, and then in between the 2, you just put some wooden slats. So that's all of the things wrong with that fence right there. So there you go. There's a little bit of a lesson for you. You've learned something new. Some of you who have been in farming all of your lives, that's I mean, you may do things differently where you are, but that's how we do things here in the UK, and, or at least in my part of the UK and on the farms that I've worked on, that's kind of how we would do it. I have seen farmers who can't be bothered to put in the extra post and just hang a gate on a strainer post, but then I've also seen them out, you know, 2 to 5 years later tightening up their fence line, whereas my fence line is still good nearly 20 years later. So I think the results speak for themselves. And I say my fence line, I have done quite a lot of fencing. I have put up quite a lot of fences, and so long as the fence is able to be done to my specifications, I will guarantee my work for 20 years. So it does have to be all new materials, and it has to be built in the way that I say, and it will still be there 20 years later. And I built fences back 20 years ago, and most of the places that I built fences, they kind of I'm not able to go and see them anymore, but I have seen 1 or 2 fences that I put up between 15 and 20 years ago, and they're still there. They're still there, they're still fine. My 20-year guarantee does actually seem to have worked. Now, if I was a fencing contractor, and if I was making a living out of doing that, I wouldn't put a 20-year guarantee on it. I would put a 10-year guarantee on, the same as all the other fencing contractors, because 20 years is a long time to guarantee anything. You don't know what's going to happen in 20 years. So what you do is you say that it typically lasts for 20 years, maybe longer, maybe a bit less. It does depend on, you know, a variety of different things. But so you say it typically lasts for 20 years, it's guaranteed for 10 years. So if the fence does fail, and that is down to my work or the materials used, it would be replaced. But if I go to a farm and find that some moron has gone and hung a gate on one of the strainer posts and then said, well, your fence has gone slack. No, mate. No, I'm not having anything to do with that. That's your problem, not mine. You've hung a gate on a strainer post, and then you're complaining to me why my fence has gone slack because you got and interfered with my fence line. Yeah, that's not happening. But I wasn't a fencing contractor. It was just when I worked for people, I would say, well, yeah, if you let me do it my way, I guarantee the fence will still be here. But it wasn't anything actually. There was no written contract or anything like that. So it does please me to see that my fence lines are still there 20 years, 15 to 20 years later, because it shows that I was actually doing the right things at the time. There are a few things that I've learned in the meantime that I would do differently. I've seen some of my older fence lines, and I've seen other fence lines as well with the people that I used to work for and work with. The fence lines that we put up then compared to how we would do them now, and there's different techniques in that we would now use. Mostly it's to do with how the strainer post on the end of each line is supported. They've sort of, over time, we've evolved our understanding of that, and we've adapted different styles of how to strain the posts at the end of each run, and there's now methods. The internet is really, really good for this, by the way. Like, the internet is amazing because we can talk with people all around the world, and most fencing contractors now use one particular method where you form a box with some posts, and then you put a diagonal down through, and then you put wire across going the other way, and you twist the wire up, and it just leaves for a really, really strong strainer post at the end that is well supported and isn't going to be levered out of the ground. So there were certain ways that we used to do things that you don't generally see anymore, and that is because our understanding of it is we've the collective knowledge. So whereas 20, 40, 60 years ago these fences were still being made, but how they were being made if one person came up with a way of doing it and it worked really well and they sort of seemed to be better, then more people in that area in the world would start doing that. But other places in the world, you wouldn't have this. That you would still be doing it the other way, and you wouldn't have had this way of sharing that knowledge. But now, you will see the same kind of joints being done in countries right across the planet. How they do it in New Zealand is pretty much how we now do it here in my part of the UK. And I've seen the same joints being done in Texas in the US. And in South Africa, and you know, it's really amazing, this whole kind of coming together and sharing of all of this knowledge. I love it, I really do. I think it's absolutely amazing. Alright, I have now gone and direct drilled the sugar beet in there, so that's all done. We still want to put in, we've got wheat up here in this field. I still want to put in some barley. That's going to be the next thing. So we've got wheat planted, we've got barley I'm about to go and plant, and we've got sugar beet. Potatoes, soybeans, and sunflowers are all going to be planted next month. And that leaves barley and canola. Oats and corn this month, this time we're not doing it. I'm not doing sorghum either. So I just need barley and canola. And what I was thinking is I'm going to put barley into this field, and then these 4 small ones is all going to be the canola. Because if we look down here and go into this bit, the mineral feed is the one that needs the canola. So I've got some big fields of sunflowers and beans planned. And then I also want the canola to go in there. And these are 3 oil plants, and we are going to want a little bit of oil being done as well. So kind of like adding that in. The potatoes obviously are going to go to the potato factory. We're going to be able to run that one a little bit. And then I've got some barley and I've got some wheat. And I want a bit of barley so that I can start getting things ready for chickens. I think it's going to be really good so that we can have some chickens. So I'm going to start that one up. I'm going to lower that one down into there like that. And we just start around the very edge of this field. And it's just going to be this field that I do with barley. So we've got... I'm not going to reverse up into the corners of this field. I'm just going to do it like this, I think. I drive round the edge of the field as far out as I can actually reach it. There's another gate there on the edge of the road, so I'll close that one. And the little bit of barley will allow us to get a few chickens and get started. I'm going to want flour as well, so I'm kind of 2 minds as to whether or not I should actually use the barley for chickens, or if I should put both the wheat and... Like, the wheat is definitely going to go into the mill. All of the wheat that we have would go into the mill. But I'm kind of thinking that the barley should all go into the mill as well. We'll just chuck the whole lot in. So I'll bring you up here like this. There we go. And... you don't want to turn too sharp on the corners. And also I've got to remember I can't cut the corners either. I've got to go right out to the corners because of where the edge of the tractor, where the edge of the seed drill goes. So I'll bring that one out and around like that. There we go. Neat and tidy like. And also those telegraph poles, like the thing I like about these smaller fields is I can actually go and do them myself. Right? They're not too big to go and do myself. I mean, yes, that sugar beet one, I feel that maybe that was a little bit of a tedious process doing that. But we've only done it the once, and after that it's probably not going to happen again. I'm not going to be planting potatoes and the other 3 things. The other 2, the potatoes and sunflowers, because this one here we'll be able to use for doing the... Let's turn that one off. This machine here is what we'll be able to use to do the soybeans. We can do beans with this one. It's just going to be the other crops, the sunflowers and the potatoes, that we can't do with this one. So the sunflowers and potatoes, I'm hoping to have another planter ready by that point, or even this planter, but modified in order to be able to take the I'm going to back you up to the corner right here, like this. And I'm actually going to sell that gate, because I don't like the fact that it sticks out like that. So we'll get rid of this one. I've got to find it now. This is the one bit that I don't like about this. There. Interact with the object. There we go. And sell that one. Yes. Okay. So that bit's now done. And then I can come over here. And we want to change this over to canola, like that. Fire you up. Lower you in. And off we go. So I've got these little fields now that we will do with canola. And then if I can change this seed drill to do all other crops, then I will. Otherwise, I will just do a bit of modification to one of the Stevie ones, so that we've got all other crops, and then I can sort of have it, you know, a bit more similar to this, and then we won't have the tedium of what we had with the planting of the sugar beet. It won't be like that. And then all we've got to do is be able to harvest it. And I'm wondering if there is that, because we got root crop harvesters that will go through, and we can do stuff with the root crop harvesters that's really, really awesome. And we can harvest all the root crops. We're getting the new game coming out, or the new version of the game coming out. So whether or not it will add those root crops to maps by default, or whether or not I've got to do some changes to the map. I'm also going to have to go back and do the changes that I made to the bales. I still haven't actually told you how much the big bales are going to be, what the capacity of them is. You've seen 100,000 litres on the smaller bales, and I did have a few of you guessing what I'd gone and done for the big bales, but I haven't told anyone, and I'm going to keep it that way. It's going to stay top secret until you actually see it, but I'll have to go and change that again once we've had the update for the game, because like the game, they will go that will go through the files, and it will delete my changes because I'm making the changes to the actual base game. So go back and do that again, because I don't know how to turn it into a mod to just overwrite those bits so I can keep it as a mod, and because I don't know how to do that, I'll have to just do it the old-fashioned way and alter it each time. But it's not actually a very big thing to go and do. Once you've done it once and you can find the correct file to go into, it's very straightforward actually. Surprisingly, I was able to do it really quickly, and it surprised even me how quickly I was able to do that bit. I was quite pleased with that. And this is nice and fast. I've got another gateway there that goes out to the road, so we're going to close that one. And again, he's going the wrong way. Look at him. He should be going that way, because then the gate swings back into the hedge. That's what bugs me about that bit, because I would never have a gate into a field. If it's going into the corner of the field, I'd never have it opening that way, ever. I would always have it opening so that the gate itself swings back into the hedge, because it's out of the way then. You haven't got that thing, you haven't got that gate right in your way. It's in the way of everything if you don't have it going back into the hedge. And then you've got to get out, you've got to move the gate again to be able to actually do your bit around the field. I have seen this in real life. Like, I have worked on farms where a lot of their gates swing the wrong way. They don't go back into the hedge. And you ask them why, and it's because, they don't want them going into the hedge, because then people will leave them there and they get growed in. And yes, they do get grown into the hedge if you leave them open, and I suppose that is a valid argument. It's just not one that I like. That gate there, look at that. That's perfect. That's exactly how it should be. It should be going back into the hedge. Now, I'm guessing it's because this particular model of gate only opens one way, and because of that, they kind of, the maker was a little bit limited on how they could do it. It's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, that's just how it is. So we've got a little bit of grass that's left over here, and these part fields now we want to do without actually getting canola planted anywhere but in here. So that kind of wedge shape up there, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to lower down. I don't want it sort of going through the hedge over there, so there's a little tiny bit of grass here that won't get done, but that's fine, because otherwise we have a bit like there. Now, fortunately, I'm doing the same crop on both sides of that hedge there, but you've seen what happened this one here, I'm just going to go right through so I do get the whole corner. This is a really small field. Over here. See, it's a tiny little field, this one is. And there is... Right, that I am going to get rid of. I'm going to go here. I'm going to get rid of that one, and I'm also going to get rid of this. This side that you've got to go. There we go. Right, we get rid of that as well. There we go. That's better. I want that one, and then I've got the option to sort of drive along here. And yes, I know we probably shouldn't have done it like that. It would be better if we hadn't, but I'm fine with it. So I'm also going to bring you up here so that I go through this bit. And I think after the harvest, I kind of like having some of these small fields. Like, I really do. The same with the grass. Like, I like having the small fields. But I think after the harvest, I'll turn this bit here into one field. We'll remove that little bit of hedgerow right there, and then we'll run the plough in between, so that this bit here is like one, and then that, and then we got some extra ones. I kind of like that idea. I think that will work well. This bit here, I just kind of need to be a little bit careful that I don't angle it too much, so that I don't end up getting anything across the other side of the track. That's the only issue, that we're going to have to be very careful that we don't do that. With all these small fields, there is a very real risk that we drill the wrong side. But we're done. We're finished. Okay. All of the drilling is done. At least all of the drilling that we want to do this month. So that's all planted. I need a little bit of fertilizer in a couple of places. I'm probably not going to bother with it. I might go out and do 83. But that's all planted there. This is all grass over here. We've got a seed drill up there that we're going to need to move. And then we've got these 3 down here, which are all going to be done next month. I could go and do... Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.